Good morning. Today is Monday. It is October 17th. The year is 2022. And I'm sitting here having a delicious cup of coffee with Grayson at my feet. I wanted to say something about the housing market because there's this loan program being offered by Bank of America and other banks where they're targeting minority neighborhoods with low interest loans, low down payments, or down payment assistance programs that they're going to use to help people who live in these neighborhoods to acquire homes. The program is designed to help people acquire homes at a much faster, much easier way to acquire a home, especially people who are in areas or certain areas that people are living in. And I've seen so much negativity about these programs on the internet. I'm just like, these programs are excellent. And I'm saying that as someone who used to be a real estate investor. And one of the reasons why these programs are excellent, you're able to get into a home with a lower, you may not even, you can have challenged credit or a lower credit score, but they're going to give you low interest rates, under market interest rates. They're going to help you with down payment or down payment assistance programs. I've had friends who bought homes who used down payment assistance, got as much as $80,000 in down payment assistance program. Low interest down payment assistance programs. You don't even have to have a credit score. So if you've been working a job and you never really got out there, you're a first-time home buyer, and your credit is low or no score, they could help you buy a home. Now, some people had a lot of negative things to say about this on the internet, and this is kind of concerning to me because I'm like, these programs are excellent programs. But I've noticed something. Be careful who you get your information from off the internet, because if you go on the internet, you'll see a whole bunch of people making these comments. And if you don't know that person, or you've never met that person, you might look at that picture and think that you're talking to somebody that looks like you. But I've learned that there are a lot of fake profiles on Instagram, Facebook, even YouTube. They're fake, and they're going around and they're saying all this information, this false information, spreading false information across the internet, and they're not real people. They might post a picture of a black person, but they ain't black. And they have all this fake stuff that they have to say, that most of the time is racially motivated. It's almost like they're trying to keep a race or racially motivated issues going on the internet. So I would strongly encourage you all to be careful who you follow or who's following you. And if they're popping up in your comments, you might want to click on that profile or that page and see, is this person real? You can look at a few, and they only got like a couple pictures, and the pictures are 30 years old, and you're like, okay. And, there are a lot of fake profiles on the internet spreading false information. And I've saw a lot of false information being spread out about these, particularly the Bank of America program, which is similar to other banks also offering this program. But this is a pilot program that Bank of America is offering, specifically targeting minorities in urban neighborhoods or just urban homes in urban areas. You don't have to be a minority. But they've always had these types of programs over the years. So I don't know why people are so shocked by this shit. I've seen these programs 1,000 times. They've always had these programs. I mean, they've always had them. So, with that said, a lot to unpack there. But with that said, the worst mistake I made over the years was I purchased homes, renovated them, and resold them. In many instances, I only held those houses just a few months. Had I sat on those homes and rented those houses out, many houses, okay, for example, I would have paid $65,000 for a house, $65,000, $70,000, maybe $50,000 for a house. Maybe put $25,000, $30,000 in the renovation, maybe $40,000, $50,000, depending on how much work needs to be done. And the house was sold, most of it I did, so about $250,000 to $300,000, sometimes more. depending on the street, the house is a brick, and all this stuff kind of when people would snatch those houses up, boom, 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 snatch them up. On paper, that sounded like a good deal, but it really wasn't. Had I held those houses and rented those houses out over the years, because in many instances, those houses didn't need any work. The houses I was purchasing, people lived in them. I could have purchased them houses, rented those houses, cleaned them up, painted the wall, freshened it up, rented the houses, and sat on those houses. Had I sat on those houses, I'd be a multi-millionaire today. Every house I own skyrocketed in value over the years. Now, they hit some rough patches. They did go, at some point, some of those houses were underwater. The values of the housing market had collapsed, and the values plummeted a couple times. But they always went back up. So, I see these people saying, well, if you use the Bank of America program to buy a house at the height of the market, this could be an issue. If you plan on buying a house, plan on being in there for quite some time, the next few years, 4 or 5 years. And even if you don't plan on being there for the next 4 or 5 years, my suggestion would be, instead of worrying about if your house is underwater, if the payment is acceptable and you got a low interest and the payment is cheap, rent the house. There might be some stipulations with down payment assistance about how long you have to live in that house before you can rent it. So you need to follow those rules that apply to that. But if you're buying a home, be prepared to own it for a while. And sit on it. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you decide later on, I want to acquire a larger home or a nicer home or whatever, just hold that house and rent it. Because in the long term, I wish I had held all my houses that I had foolishly renovated and flipped. That was a horrible mistake. Because I look back, y'all houses worth $1 million. Literally. There are houses that I sold. I had a house, the example, I purchased a brand new home in 1998. I had a house built in Lithonia. I think my mortgage on the house was $165. I know it was pretty much like $165,000 for brand new construction. It was 30 years ago. I'm going to do my math right on. Let's see. Let's take 2022. 2022 minus 1998. Is that right? 2022. We are in 2022. Yeah, minus 1998. So it's 24 years. Is that correct? Is that 24 years ago? Maybe it is. So 24 years ago, I built a house in Lithonia, built a beautiful home, one of the nicest ones in the neighborhood. I paid $165. I lived in the house approximately a little over a year. And then I sold the house. Huge mistake. No, I take that back. First I rented it, then I sold it to the person I rented it to. And I really wish I had not done that, because the house was in good condition. It needed no work, and it still is in good condition to this day. Now, the funny part is, recently I was looking around, and that house popped up in my search engine. I'm not sure why. Maybe I was looking for it. And the house sold for over $400,000. I was like, that house sold for, I had to go look. And when I looked at the pictures in the house, they had this shit to the house. They did do some paint, all the tile that I put in, the upgrades that the house, it was still the same. And it still looked good. They did change some colors inside the house, but the exterior was the same. Even the little plants I planted were still out there in the yard. So imagine if I had sat on that house and just rented it. Because I would have been making a profit off the rent every month. It needed no work. This new house back then. There might have been some minor issues along the way. A few repairs here and there that I might need if you got to, depending on who's maintaining the house. However, had I sat on those houses, most of the neighborhoods I was building homes were in Eastlake. If you're familiar with Atlanta, there's Eastlake, there's Kirkwood, Oakhurst, Edgewood, Kirkwood, 044. I had a lot of houses in the 044, y'all. I bought that shit for nothing. If I had held them raggedy ass houses, they were a little bit worse condition than 044, but they were rented. Had I held those houses, just kept them clean and rented out, oh boy, could I be rolling in the cash today. So why I'm saying this is, suppose you don't own a home and you want to buy a house. And you want to use something like the Bank of America 100% financing program with down payment assistance, low interest rate, low credit score, low whatever, but they give you a good payment and good interest rate if you can find a house, and that's going to be the hard part, in your price range and a mortgage that you can afford. Because trust me, Bank of America ain't going to be putting you in nothing you can't afford, so you're going to have to be, so that program will only work if you meet a certain criteria, and there's going to be a affordable mortgage payment based upon what you earn for the income. So with that said, you buy the house and you hold it, you sit in it, you live in it. Nothing wrong with that. You're going to live in it anytime, but you're paying rent somewhere. That's why I didn't understand why people are discouraging people from doing this program. Why are you discouraging people from doing this? Housing markets are always going to be up and down like a roller coaster ride. If this program is available and you can get into a house and it's close to what you're paying for rent, or many times instances maybe less, what do you got to lose? Oh, the house might drop in value. I just even told you all them houses that I had. Oh, that house that I had out in Lithonia that sold for $400,000. At one point, that house was worth about $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. The value plummeted on those houses, and there were a lot of foreclosures in that area. Fine. The woman who sold that house, she sat through all that mess. She's lived through it all, and she's still there. Well, she sold it now, but she sold it for a profit. So housing markets will go up and down like a roller coaster ride. So if you're owning a home and you plan on living in that house and sitting in that house for a little while, you just have to sit there and wait. And you just wait it out. That's all. You just wait it out and wait for times to get better, and they will get better. It will get better, won't they? It can get better for your smelly. Say, hey, I'm back again. Terrassian. Hey, why? I done gave you breakfast. Why can't you go over there and just go eat breakfast? I don't know what it is about this dog. He has to be under your feet at all times. This breakfast is way on the other side of the room over there. So him running over there, eating his breakfast and drinking water and playing with them toys on that floor and leave me the hell alone. This is what he over there doing. Running around my chair, chewing on stuff. Well, I don't know where he finds this stuff. He finds all kinds of stuff to chew on. Little tags. You know, little tags to be under a chair and you forget about it. He'll find that tag and rip it off the chair and chew on it. You a bad damn mutt. Now go on over there and go play. But anyway, do not allow someone to discourage you from taking advantage of a program that helps you acquire real estate for a low price. Now, I don't know about the purchase price, because I know these houses are kind of expensive right now in certain neighborhoods. If you're buying a house for the long term anyway, you're going to be sitting there. So in case the values do go down, don't worry about it. Values go down, they'll come back up. You just got to wait it out. Had I waited, let's say I took them houses, especially ones in the old fourth ward that I paid $50,000, $60,000 for. Everybody thought I was crazy buying that shit. $50,000, $60,000, and $70,000 for those houses. If I had just sat on those houses and rented them out Section 8, Section 8 was paying me about $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 back then. This is back in the 2000s. If I had sat on those houses and collected the Section 8 check and just continued to clean them up and continued to Section 8 them, those houses now, unrenovated, are selling for $5, $6, $7. I've seen some listed as high as $900, putting it on the lot, unrenovated, and they just tear the house down. Here's the funny part: some of the houses that I fully renovated and resold back then have been torn down. Beautiful renovations, new windows, new roof, new heating, all that. Them houses are torn down. They gone. I'm like, they tore the house down. They tore the house down. So they got rid of those houses, they tore them down, and they built these new, expensive, contemporary style homes. They're selling for $1.4, $1.5 million. I'm like, ooh. I had a house that I paid $300 and some thousand in 1998. This house in particular was a brand new construction. In 1998, I paid $300,000, $335,000. 98, yeah, because I left Lithonia and moved downtown to Old Fourth Ward. It's a new construction. At that time, Old Fourth Ward was a very rough neighborhood. Trust me, it was horrible. It was filthy. Ooh, and that street I was on was probably one of the roughest streets at that time. The trash and filth and burned up abandoned houses. It was bad down there, y'all. It was not pretty. However, I bought that house. It had a gated. I had an electric gate. I had a swimming pool in the yard. It was a beautiful home. 3-car garage in the city. I paid $300,000 for the house. That house recently sold for $1.6 million. Somebody did go in there and renovate it again. And they gutted the kitchen out and redid that kitchen and kind of expanded a little bit. They did some improvements to the property, but still, look at that damn, that was a brand new house. It needed very practically no work, or maybe a little bit of work. So, all I'm saying is, y'all, if you have an opportunity to acquire some real estate, don't be discouraged by these naysayers and these haters. That's another thing. When I was buying these houses and renovating these homes in these areas, I had so many naysayers who said I was going to fail at this, that me and Earl would fail and it would not be, that this would be a catastrophe. There were so many of them that were just waiting and hoping for our demise. That it is stupid. I don't know why people were having such a hard time understanding that. But these people, they didn't like what I was doing to real estate. They couldn't see a vision. They didn't like the neighborhoods. And I'll be very honest with you all. Back then in the early 2000s, Old Fourth Ward or Kirkwood, Edgewood, Eastlake, and Oakhurst was some very rough neighborhoods. They're not rough like that now, but you know now it's awesome. You can buy a house on Hosea Williams Drive in Kirkwood for $1.7 million, brand new construction, or more. I've seen houses this as high as $2 million over there, and people buying this stuff. There's a new development going up on Memorial Drive and 2nd Avenue for those who know Decatur, right near Memorial Drive and 2nd Avenue. Those houses started $1 million. Who knows they're gonna get them built though? I drove by there yesterday, and the ground is prepared for construction. The thing all I'm saying is don't be discouraged by some of these naysayers who could prevent you from owning a home. If there's a program, this is a great program for a lot of people to get into houses, 0 to no money down, a low interest rate, lower than market rates. They're going to give you a reduced interest rate. This is a program designed to help minorities own homes in certain neighborhoods. And somebody say, well, ain't bad neighborhoods. Old Fourth Ward was a bad neighborhood when I bought that house. In fact, when I purchased that house in the Old Fourth Ward, they had a similar program going on back then in the 90s. And they would build these new homes, and if you had, there were certain financial requirements. You couldn't make over a certain amount of money to buy these homes. Them houses sat there like a rock. And I would show them to friends in the Old Fourth Ward in brand new construction. The house now $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. And people are like, I don't like it. I wouldn't buy them houses. We don't like that area. And they would go out into the suburbs and buy. A lot of blacks were moving into Atlanta, and they didn't have vision of what these neighborhoods eventually turn out to be, like the Old Fourth Ward. Who knew? But so a lot of blacks would come into the city. They had the money to buy these houses, or they could afford to buy the house, or they met the requirements. They didn't want those houses. They'd rather be out in Cascade or Fairburn, Lithonia, Stone Mountain. They chose other areas instead of the inner city neighborhoods, because one thing, the schools were bad, rough, and the neighborhoods were rough. I get it. I do understand that. So you had a lot of whites, gays, and lesbians moving into these areas. They didn't have any kids. And that's what turned these neighborhoods around. But we had an opportunity to buy those homes and turn those neighborhoods around ourselves. It was very rare. It was almost shocking to see somebody black buy a home in these areas. But again, the purpose of me doing this video is saying is if I had held all those properties and just rented them out over the years. Oh, no, you don't. Come here. You about to start barking and know yourself in the mirror. Come here. If I had just owned them, I'm almost done. If I had just sat on those houses, rented them out, If I had just sat on those houses, man, Grayson, and rented them out, and just rented them out to homeowners, yep, just rented them out, I could have got rich later on. Filthy rich. Acquire houses. You don't have to go renovate those houses like people talking about to renovate. That was the worst mistake ever. If I had to just set on those houses, rented them out, cleaned them up, the neighborhoods were going to change eventually anyway. And I was acquiring a lot of houses. Them houses I didn't even own 6 months. Now I drive by them houses and I just sit back in shock. Like, oh, wow, look at this worth. The real estate market is going to go up and down. You can't time the market. There might be some times when you're underwater value on the side. Just wait it out until it improves. That's all you can do. But I would not miss out on a program that's helping homeowners to buy homes, especially over in Niggavile. I've always said I like certain neighborhoods, although I was trying to buy the neighborhoods that were very pricey at that point when I was in that house. But the Bluff, Donald Lee Howe, what was once known as the Bankhead area over there, I think there's amazing opportunities for growth in those areas if you can find something. Those are some of the targeted areas. The question is, can you find a house that will fit the parameters of your price and payment? And you can use it for that program or any type program. I don't think there's in Atlanta. The program is in Atlanta yet. In certain houses, but eventually the program with Bank of America will be nationwide. But they got these programs everywhere. They got NACA. They got all kinds of stuff. NACA was just here in Atlanta. Had a big old convention for people to help purchase homes and stuff with down payment assistance. There are some amazing opportunities for those of you who've never purchased a home. I would not miss out on that opportunity. Be prepared. Homeownership ain't fun and easy. As you know, it's just bragging house I'm sitting up in. But I'm still working on it right now. You get a worker down there working. But anyway, that's just my suggestions to you all to look at these programs. Don't hurt to look at them. Investigate them. See if it will work for you. Apply for it. See what you can find. You never know. As they push the interest rates higher, home prices are starting to come down in certain neighborhoods. Some of them say, the interest rate don't matter. My house, there's a home that's just sold next to me, and people pay cash for that house. They ain't give a damn about no interest rates. She got multiple offers for that house. And she took a cash buyer. And she gone, they moved in there too. And they moved in there and started a renovation. So it was already renovated. Gutting it. Folks ain't crazy. They ripping all that shit out of there. But anyway, that's just my thoughts about the real estate market and those opportunities that are out there. It doesn't hurt you to hold real estate and sit on it. It ain't going out of style. It ain't going to go bad and expire. The value might go down, but it'll come back up if you just be patient and wait it out. I mean, some of these neighborhoods, these houses were selling for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and then they got back up to $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. You'd be surprised. They might drop again. Who knows? Nobody can predict this stuff. But what you can do is you can sit on and hold it. You'd be a very wealthy person. And these are just my thoughts and opinions. This is what I wish I had done, was held all them fucking houses. Today is Monday, October 17th. The year is 2022. I'm out of here and enjoy the rest of your day.